This is the story of Olivia Mitchell, a young woman who, at 22, learned that family ties didn't always mean unconditional support. For 18 years, she had been the quintessential daughter, the straight A student, the overachiever in extracurriculars, the future doctor her parents proudly showcased at every family gathering. Then came a pivotal summer evening. Her parents sat her down, delivering a blow that would reshape her world. They simply couldn't afford her college tuition. A mere 2 weeks later, Olivia watched as those same parents presented her brother with the keys to a brand new truck, adorned with a giant red bow. For his future, they'd said, smiling. That moment was a stark lesson. Sometimes, forging your own path forward requires the quiet strength of walking away. If you've ever faced the difficult decision to stand up for yourself when no one else would, consider sharing your own experience in the comments below as you witness how Olivia transformed her family's profound betrayal into her most significant triumph. Growing up in the small town of Millfield, Ohio, with its population of just 8,000, Olivia had never questioned her place, not in the world, and certainly not within her family unit. Their modest two-story colonial, its blue shutters faded by the sun, stood on Maple Street, just 3 blocks from the high school where Olivia spent 4 years consistently at the top of her class. Her childhood wasn't one of excess, but it was comfortable, embodying the quintessential middle-class American suburban existence. Her father, Richard Mitchell, worked as a production supervisor at the local manufacturing plant that employed a large portion of the town. He dedicated 2 decades there, ascending from the factory floor to management through what he often termed grit and showing up. Her mother, Linda, held a part-time administrative assistant position at the local insurance office, a job she had taken when Olivia began middle school. Specifically, she always emphasized, to contribute to future college funds. From her earliest school years, Olivia was recognized as the intelligent one. Teachers sent glowing reports home about her exceptional abilities, and her parents beamed with pride at every parent-teacher conference. By the 3rd grade, she was reading at an 8th grade level, and by 6th grade, she was excelling in advanced mathematics. This wasn't solely natural talent. Olivia worked tirelessly, staying up late to ensure assignments were perfect, while other children were preoccupied with video games or socializing. "That's my girl," her father would often say, ruffling her hair upon receiving another flawless report card. "She's going to be the first doctor in the family." The aspiration of attending medical school became a shared family goal, a topic frequently discussed around their dinner table. "We're saving for your education," her mother would gently remind her whenever Olivia expressed desires for expensive items her peers possessed. "Your future comes first." Her brother, Jason, arrived when Olivia was 3. While Olivia was naturally studious and methodical, Jason was outgoing and spontaneous. He faced challenges with academics, but possessed an innate ability to dismantle and reassemble mechanical objects, a trait their father particularly admired. Richard often invited Jason into the garage to work on the family car alongside him, while Olivia remained inside, engrossed in her studies. Despite their distinct personalities, they shared a close bond throughout their childhood. Jason would protect her from bullies at school, and Olivia would assist him with his homework in the evenings. "You two balance each other out," their mother would observe. Olivia with her books, Jason with his hands. There was never any overt favoritism during their formative years, at least none that Olivia could perceive. Both received love and attention. Christmas presents were always of comparable value, and birthdays were celebrated with equal enthusiasm. If anything, Olivia's academic achievements seemed to garner more public commendation. Throughout her high school career, Olivia maintained a perfect 4.0 GPA, while actively participating in the debate team, student government, and volunteering at the local hospital. Every decision was deliberately calculated to align with her future medical profession. She consciously sacrificed parties, dating, and social events to preserve her academic standing. In her senior year, she was named valedictorian and awarded the Principal's Award for Excellence. The college application process commenced early in her senior year. Her guidance counselor, Mrs. Westfield, encouraged her to set her sights high. With your transcript and extracurriculars, she assured Olivia, the top schools will be eager to have you. Olivia applied to a dozen universities, including her dream institution, Northwestern University, renowned for its exceptional pre-med program. Discussions about finances occurred openly around the kitchen table. We've been saving since you were born, her mother explained one evening, spreadsheets spread out between them. With your scholarships, our savings, and a modest loan, Northwestern is well within reach. Their support felt absolute and unwavering. When the acceptance letters began arriving, each one was a cause for celebration. The letter from Northwestern arrived on a damp April afternoon. Olivia vividly remembered standing on the front porch, hands trembling, as she opened the thick envelope, the undeniable symbol of acceptance. Her scream of joy was so loud that their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, came outside to ensure everything was all right. That night, her parents took them out to Salvatore's, the finest restaurant in town, a place reserved for significant milestones. Her father ordered champagne for himself and her mother, allowing Jason and Olivia a small sip to toast. "To our future doctor," he declared, his voice filled with palpable pride. "We always knew you could do it." After dinner, they discussed the partial merit scholarship Olivia had received. "It's a solid beginning," her mother remarked. "We'll bridge the gap. This is exactly what we've been planning for." Her father nodded in agreement, adding, "Nothing is more important than ensuring our children are set up for success." The weeks that followed were brimming with anticipation and planning. Olivia meticulously selected her first semester courses, researched dormitory options, and joined online groups for incoming freshmen. Her mother accompanied her on shopping trips for dorm essentials, and her father spoke excitedly about driving her to Chicago in August. Everything seemed perfectly aligned. Each night before retiring, Olivia would gaze at the Northwestern acceptance letter pinned to her bulletin board, feeling a surge of exhilaration. Years of dedication had culminated in this moment, and with her family's apparent emotional and financial backing, she was on the brink of embarking on the journey to becoming Dr. Olivia Mitchell. What could possibly go wrong when she had seemingly done everything right? The shift occurred so subtly, Olivia almost didn't notice it. In late May, roughly 3 weeks after her high school graduation, she began observing her parents engaging in hushed conversations that would abruptly cease whenever she entered the room. Her father started exhibiting signs of work-related stress at home, a rarity for him, often mentioning financial pressures and instability at the plant. Her mother became more meticulous about grocery receipts and began implementing minor cutbacks on household expenses, though nothing significant initially. Still riding the wave of graduation excitement and focused on her impending university adventure, Olivia initially dismissed these subtle alterations until the family meeting. It was a Sunday evening in early June. The oppressive summer heat had settled in, rendering their dining room uncomfortably warm despite the ceiling fan rotating overhead. Jason was conspicuously absent, visiting a friend's house. "Olivia, we need to discuss college," her father began, his tone unusually formal. He and her mother sat opposite her, both appearing tense. Her father's hands were tightly clasped on the table, his knuckles stark white. Her mother repeatedly adjusted her glass of water, avoiding eye contact. "Is everything all right?" Olivia asked, anxiety instantly blossoming in her chest. Her father cleared his throat. "Your mother and I have been reviewing our finances." He paused, glancing at her mother. "We've realized we simply can't afford Northwestern after all." The statement hung in the air, heavy and palpable. Olivia waited for further explanation, for a proposed solution, for the inevitable, "but here's what we'll do instead," that would rectify the situation. What do you mean? She finally managed, her voice barely a whisper. Her mother quickly interjected, explaining that some investments hadn't performed as anticipated, and there had been unforeseen expenses throughout the year. They simply didn't possess the savings they had believed they did. But you said we've been planning this for years? Olivia stammered, recalling all the times they had reassured her about the college funds. Her father nodded gravely. We know, sweetheart. We're disappointed as well. But sometimes life throws curveballs. They proceeded to outline various alternatives, attending the local community college for 2 years before transferring, taking out larger student loans, postponing enrollment altogether, and working for a year. Each suggestion felt like another brick being added to a growing weight on her chest, making it progressively harder to breathe. Northwestern is offering me a half scholarship, Olivia reminded them, her voice laced with desperation. And I can work part-time. Even with the scholarship, we're looking at $20,000 a year that we cannot provide. Her father explained, sliding a calculator across the table, displaying figures he had meticulously calculated. That's $80,000 over 4 years, before even considering medical school. Olivia spent the remainder of the evening in a daze. Her entire future, the singular path she had diligently pursued with her parents' unwavering encouragement, was abruptly blocked. She retreated to her room, sitting cross-legged on her bed, surrounded by Northwestern brochures and course catalogs, attempting to process the devastating news. The subsequent days blurred into a cycle of intense research. She investigated every conceivable scholarship opportunity, calculated potential work hours against the demanding study requirements, and explored loan options. She approached her parents each evening with new proposals. Each one met with regretful headshakes and vague explanations about fiscal responsibility and the necessity of living within their means. One evening, upon returning from the library where she had been researching financial aid options, Olivia overheard her parents arguing in their bedroom. We should just tell her the truth. Her mother's voice was strained. And say what, exactly? Her father retorted. You know this is the right decision for the family. But we promised her, Richard. For years, we promised. Things change. Priorities change. She's smart. She'll adjust. Their voices dropped, and Olivia quietly backed away, confusion mingling with the deepening disappointment. What truth were they concealing? What priorities had shifted? Small inconsistencies began to capture her attention. Despite the supposed financial crisis, her mother arrived home with new garden furniture for the backyard. Her father mentioned planned weekend fishing trips with his work colleagues. Their annual family vacation to Lake Michigan remained firmly scheduled on the calendar. When she gently questioned these expenditures, her mother waved dismissively. Those are separate budgets, honey. The vacation's already paid for, and the garden set was on clearance. One afternoon, while searching for a stapler in her father's home office, Olivia noticed bank statements resting on his desk. She hadn't intended to snoop, but a specific figure immediately caught her eye. A savings account with a substantial balance. Not enough to cover 4 years of private university tuition comfortably, perhaps, but certainly not empty. She quickly replaced the paper, her mind racing. Jason returned from his friend's house that evening, unusually cheerful, whistling as he rummaged through the refrigerator. When Olivia asked what had put him in such a good mood, he merely shrugged and replied, "Graduation's coming up. Just excited to be done with school." Something felt profoundly wrong. The convoluted explanations about failing investments, the hushed arguments behind closed doors, the money still clearly being spent on other things, Jason's inexplicable good mood, all while her future seemed to be collapsing around her. Olivia went to bed that night with an unsettling premonition that the truth lay just below the surface, waiting to be uncovered. Jason's high school graduation ceremony arrived on a sweltering afternoon 2 weeks later. The school gymnasium was filled to capacity with proud families, fanning themselves with programs in the thick air heavy with perfume, aftershave, and anticipation. Olivia sat between her parents in the third row, reserved for families of honor students. Jason had barely managed to scrape by with a 3.0 GPA, but his position as captain of the wrestling team had earned him special recognition. When his name was called, her parents surged to their feet, applauding wildly. Her father even produced a piercing whistle with his fingers, something he had never done at Olivia's own graduation ceremony. She stood and clapped as well, genuinely happy for her brother, despite her own lingering disappointment casting a shadow in the background. Mitchell family, please meet outside by the oak tree for photos, her mother instructed as they filed out after the ceremony. Their extended family had traveled for the occasion. Grandparents from Florida, aunts and uncles from neighboring states, cousins Olivia hadn't seen in years. They gathered under the massive oak tree, posing for the standard graduation photos. Jason in his blue cap and gown holding his diploma. Jason with his mother and father. Jason with his grandparents. Jason with Olivia. Throughout the process, her father kept checking his watch and exchanging knowing glances with her uncles, who seemed unusually excited about something. "All right, everyone," her father announced after the photos were complete. "We have a special surprise. Please follow us to the parking lot." A ripple of excited murmurs passed through the family as they processed to the far end of the school parking lot. As they rounded the corner, Olivia saw it. A brand new Ford F-150 truck, gleaming black with polished chrome accents, a massive red bow conspicuously attached to the hood. It sat slightly apart from the other vehicles, clearly intended to be the center of attention. For one surreal moment, Olivia didn't make the connection. Then, her father pulled a set of keys from his pocket, the Ford logo clearly visible on the key fob. "Jason," he said, his voice booming with pride, "your mother and I couldn't be prouder of the young man you've become. As you begin your journey into the construction trade, we wanted to ensure you had reliable transportation for your future. This truck is yours, son." The family erupted in cheers and applause. Jason's face transformed with a mixture of shock and pure joy as he sprinted towards the vehicle, running his hands over its polished surface in stunned disbelief. "Are you serious? This is mine?" His mother nodded tearfully. "All yours. We know how hard you've worked." Olivia stood frozen, unable to process what was unfolding. The truck couldn't possibly have cost less than $50,000. $50,000, while her college dreams had allegedly disintegrated due to financial difficulties. Uncle Robert slapped her father on the back. "You outdid yourself, Rich." "What a gift," her father beamed, addressing the gathered family. "We believe in investing in our children's futures. Jason's chosen a practical career path in construction, following in my father's footsteps. This truck isn't just transportation, it's a work vehicle, an investment in his business." The family nodded approvingly. Jason was already in the driver's seat, exploring the features with childlike excitement. No one seemed to notice Olivia standing slightly apart or the expression on her face. No one, except Grandma Mitchell, who gave her a brief, curious look before her attention was diverted by Jason honking the truck's horn. The celebration continued at their house, with a backyard barbecue that had clearly been meticulously planned well in advance. There was a custom cake featuring a truck identical to Jason's gift, monogrammed work boots from his grandparents, power tools from his uncles. Everything coordinated around this elaborate surprise that her financially strapped parents had somehow managed to afford. The drive home had been excruciating. Olivia sat silently in the backseat of her parents' car, while they chatted animatedly about Jason's reaction. "Did you see his face?" her mother repeatedly exclaimed. "It was perfect." Olivia stared blankly out the window, tears threatening to fall, but held rigidly in check by shock and a simmering anger. After the last guest departed around 9 o'clock, Olivia found her parents in the kitchen, loading the dishwasher together. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. "Of course, honey," her mother replied, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Wasn't it a wonderful day? The truck, Olivia began, then had to pause, her voice cracking slightly. The truck must have cost at least $50,000. Her father straightened, adopting an immediate defensive posture. We got a good deal through Bob at the dealership. Employee discount. That's not the point, Olivia said, her voice gaining strength. 2 weeks ago, you told me you couldn't afford $20,000 a year for my education. Today, you bought Jason a $50,000 truck. Make it make sense. Her mother sighed. It's not the same thing, Olivia. This is a one-time purchase, not 4 years of ongoing expenses. One time? Olivia echoed. Dad just told everyone it's an investment in Jason's future. What about my future? Medical school is an uncertain path, her father interjected. 8 years minimum of education, mountains of debt, and no guarantee of success. Jason's chosen a practical career.
Construction always needs workers, and he'll be earning while you'd still be studying.
So this is about return on investment? Olivia asked incredulously. You never said anything about medical school being uncertain before. You encouraged it. You promised to support it. Her mother stepped forward, placing a hand on her arm, which Olivia immediately shrugged off. Honey, sometimes girls get these big dreams. Then life takes a different turn. You might meet someone in college, start a family. Are you serious right now? Olivia stared at her in utter disbelief. You think I've been working toward medical school just to drop out and get married? That's not what she meant, her father said sharply. But Jason is following in my footsteps. The Mitchell men have always worked with their hands. There's a legacy there. The implication hung heavily in the air between them. Jason was the son, the continuation of the Mitchell name, the legacy. Olivia was temporary, an investment with diminishing returns once marriage took her away from the family. She looked at these people she thought she knew, feeling something fundamental shift inside her. So if I were a boy? Don't make this about gender, her father snapped, but his eyes slid away from hers, and her mother suddenly became intensely interested in rearranging already clean countertops. The truth was as stark and clear as the summer sky outside. Olivia walked away without another word, climbing the stairs to her bedroom while the sounds of celebration continued from the backyard, where Jason was showing off his truck to lingering friends. She closed her door softly, sank onto her bed, and finally allowed the tears to come. Her entire body shook with the force of this fundamental betrayal. That night, she listened to the sounds of her family through the floor. Laughter, conversation, celebration. For the first time in her life, she felt like a stranger in her own home. Dawn found Olivia still awake, her eyes burning from tears and lack of sleep. The house was quiet now, everyone exhausted from yesterday's festivities. She moved to her desk and opened her laptop, driven by an urgent need to understand precisely what had transpired, to find concrete evidence supporting what her heart already knew. She began with their family's shared email account, used primarily for utilities and household communications. Searching for truck and Jason in the archive revealed the truth in stark black and white. An email chain between her father and the Ford dealership dating back 4 months, detailing price negotiations, feature discussions, and financing paperwork. All while Olivia was actively applying for additional scholarships to pursue her supposedly supported dreams. The email that truly devastated her was from her mother to her father, dated just 1 week before they had told Olivia they couldn't afford her tuition. Confirmed with the dealership. Truck will be ready for Jay's graduation. They're keeping it hidden until the big day. Can't wait to see his face. Should we tell O we can't do Northwestern soon? Or wait until after her graduation? Worried about how she'll take it. Her education, her future, had never been the priority. It had been sacrificed for Jason's gift. A decision made months in advance. The financial review had been nothing more than theater, a fabricated excuse to justify what they had already planned. Hands trembling, Olivia delved deeper. In her father's poorly password-protected documents folder, His birthday, always his birthday, she found their family financial statements. The savings account she'd glimpsed earlier wasn't the only one. There were investments, retirement accounts, home equity. While not wealthy by any means, her parents were undoubtedly financially comfortable. Comfortable enough to afford both her tuition and Jason's truck, had they chosen to prioritize equally. A soft knock interrupted her investigation. Jason stood in her doorway, still in his pajamas, looking sheepish. "Hey," he said, "can I come in?" Olivia minimized the financial documents, nodding silently. He sat on the edge of her bed, about the truck. "Congratulations," she said flatly. "Look, I know it seems unfair." "Seems?" Olivia interrupted. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Dad's been talking about getting me set up in construction for years. He's already lined up apprenticeships with his buddies, and the truck is part of that, for hauling stuff. And my medical career isn't worth similar investment?" Jason shrugged. "It's different. Dad says doctor stuff is all student loans anyway. Plus, you'll probably get married and your husband will take care of things." The casual sexism stunned Olivia into silence. Not just from her parents, but from Jason too. It was systemic, passed down like some toxic inheritance. "Dad says, after trade school, they're going to help me with a down payment on a house," he continued, seemingly oblivious to her shock. "Start building equity early," he says. A house? After denying her tuition, they were planning to buy him a house too? "Do you think any of this is fair?" Olivia asked quietly. His expression turned defensive. "Life isn't fair, Liv. We're just taking different paths. Mine happens to be more practical." "Do you even want construction?" she pressed. "Or is that Dad's dream for you?" He stood abruptly. "I didn't come in here to be psychoanalyzed. Just wanted to make sure we're cool." "We're not cool, Jason. Not even close." After he left, Olivia sat in the quiet of her room, allowing reality to settle around her like dust after an explosion. Everything she thought she knew about her family, about her place in it, had been a carefully constructed illusion. She wasn't the cherished daughter whose dreams mattered. She was the girl expected to adapt, to accept less, to understand why her brother deserved more. She waited until breakfast, when they were all together at the table. Her mother was serving pancakes, her father reading the newspaper, Jason texting friends about his new truck. A seemingly normal family morning, except for the knowledge burning in Olivia's chest. "I found the emails," she said calmly, placing her phone on the table with the incriminating evidence displayed. "You've been planning Jason's truck for months, long before you told me you couldn't afford my tuition." Her father slowly lowered his newspaper. Her mother froze with the pancake spatula midair. "You went through our emails?" her father asked, his voice dangerously low. "Our shared family account?" "Yes, where you discussed which lie to tell me and when." Her mother sank into a chair. "Olivia, it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. You chose Jason over me. You lied about not having enough money." Her father slapped the table, making the dishes jump. "That's enough. We made a parental decision about allocating family resources. We don't owe you an explanation." "Actually, you do," Olivia countered, surprising herself with her own steadiness. "You raised me to believe that education was everything. You promised to support my dreams. You helped me apply to Northwestern, knowing you had no intention of helping me attend." "We support your education," her mother interjected, finding her voice. "Just not at an overpriced private university when perfectly good state schools exist." "This isn't about public versus private," Olivia said. "It's about investing $50,000 in Jason's future while telling me you can't spare $20,000 for mine." "The truck is different," her father insisted. "It's practical. Jason needed it for work. For work he hasn't started yet," Olivia pointed out. "And according to these bank statements, you have the money for both. You chose not to spend it on me." The kitchen fell silent. Jason stared fixedly at his plate. Her mother looked on the verge of tears. Her father's face had turned an alarming shade of red. Since when do children dictate how parents spend money? He finally said. Since you made promises you had no intention of keeping, Olivia replied, her voice clear despite the emotion. Since you taught me that hard work and excellence would be rewarded, then punished me for believing you. Her father pushed back from the table. I'm not having this conversation. When you calm down and start thinking rationally instead of emotionally, we can discuss alternatives for your education. Just tell her, Richard, her mother said quietly. Just tell her the truth. Her father shot her a warning look, but she continued. She deserves to know why we made this decision. He sighed heavily, the fight seemingly draining out of him. Fine. The truth is, investing in a son makes more financial sense for a family. Jason will carry on the Mitchell name. His success directly benefits our family legacy. Your success, he paused, searching for words, benefits only me. Olivia finished for him. He didn't deny it. Traditional values have sustained families for generations, Olivia. Sons stay connected to family businesses, family names. Daughters eventually join other families. It's not personal, it's practical. Olivia looked at her mother, hoping for some flicker of defense, some recognition of how profoundly wrong this was. Instead, her mother nodded slowly. I know it sounds old-fashioned, she offered weakly, but practical decisions keep families stable across generations. The betrayal was complete. It wasn't just financial support that had been withdrawn, but the crushing revelation that Olivia's place in their hearts had always been conditional, temporary, and ultimately less significant than her brother's. She felt physically ill, her chest constricting as though all the air had been sucked from the room. Jason finally spoke. Come on, Liv. It's not that big a deal. Take out some loans, like normal people. The casual dismissal of her pain from the brother she had helped through every school project, every difficult subject, broke something final inside her. Olivia stood up slowly, her legs unsteady. You didn't just betray my education, she said, looking at each family member in turn. You betrayed who I thought we were as a family.
You made me believe I mattered as much as Jason.
That was the real lie. She walked out of the kitchen, climbed the stairs to her room, and closed the door softly behind her. Then, she collapsed to the floor, her hand pressed against her mouth to stifle the sobs that tore through her, her entire body shaking with the force of this fundamental betrayal. Through the floor, she could still hear the murmur of conversation continuing without her, life proceeding as though her world hadn't just imploded. She curled into herself, surrounded by Northwestern acceptance letters and valedictorian medals, academic achievements that had apparently never been enough to secure her equal place in the Mitchell family. It was 3 a.m., the quietest hour of night, when even the house itself seemed to be sleeping. Olivia sat cross-legged on her bed, her laptop glowing in the darkness, illuminating tear-streaked cheeks she no longer bothered to wipe. The emotional collapse had given way to something else, cold, clear determination. If her family wouldn't invest in her future, she would find another way. She refused to abandon her dreams because of their betrayal. She spent hours researching every possible scholarship opportunity, focusing intensely on those still accepting late applications. The Edmonds Foundation Scholarship for Exceptional Students caught her attention. A full ride for students, demonstrating academic excellence and resilience in the face of significant obstacles. It required an essay, recommendation letters, and an interview, all within the next 2 weeks. With trembling fingers, she typed an email to Mrs. Westfield, her high school guidance counselor. Despite the hour, she knew she needed to reach out immediately. Mrs. Westfield, the email began, I'm facing an unexpected financial crisis with my Northwestern plans. My parents have withdrawn all support. Are you available to discuss emergency scholarship options tomorrow? I'm determined to find a way forward. Olivia Mitchell. At first light, Olivia slipped out of the house before anyone awoke and walked to the local coffee shop with free Wi-Fi. Mrs. Westfield had already responded, offering to meet her at her office at 9 a.m. Bring all your financial information, she had written. We'll figure this out. The high school felt eerily empty during summer break. Mrs. Westfield waited in her office, concern evident in her expression when she saw Olivia's exhausted state. Olivia, what happened? She asked, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. Olivia explained everything. The false claims of financial hardship, Jason's truck, the family confrontation, the crushing revelation of their true values. As she spoke, Mrs. Westfield's expression shifted from concern to palpable outrage. I don't even have words, she said when Olivia finished. I've worked with your parents for years. I never imagined they would do this. Neither did I, Olivia admitted, her voice quiet. But here we are. I need to find a way to attend Northwestern without them. Mrs. Westfield nodded decisively. The Edmonds Scholarship would cover everything, but it's highly competitive. Only 5 awarded nationally each year. I'll be one of them, Olivia said with quiet certainty. I have to be. What followed was the most intense 2 weeks of her life. By day, she maintained a hollow facade at home, speaking minimally to her family, eating meals in silence or in her room. They attempted occasional overtures, her mother suggesting community college applications, her father mentioning loans again. But Olivia responded with single words, or nothing at all. By night, and during every moment alone, she worked relentlessly. The scholarship essay required a detailed explanation of her circumstances and how she planned to overcome them. Mrs. Westfield helped her craft language that was honest without being melodramatic, emphasizing her resilience rather than portraying herself as a victim. The committee doesn't want to award pity scholarships, she explained. They want to invest in students who will succeed despite obstacles. They secured strong recommendation letters from her principal, her hospital volunteer coordinator, and her debate team coach. Each spoke to different aspects of her character: academic excellence, compassion, persuasive articulation. Mrs. Westfield herself wrote the 4th letter, addressing Olivia's newfound circumstances with professional delicacy and deep personal conviction. The financial documentation proved tricky. Olivia had limited access to her parents' information, but Mrs. Westfield helped her complete the forms with the details she knew. They'll verify independently, she assured her. Just be truthful about your situation. Throughout this arduous process, Olivia lived in a strange limbo. At home, her parents seemed uncertain how to approach her after the confrontation. Her mother left plates of food outside her door when she skipped meals. Her father made awkward attempts at small talk about the weather. Jason avoided her entirely, spending most of his time with his friends or proudly driving his new truck around town. With the application finally complete, Olivia submitted everything electronically from Mrs. Westfield's office. 3 days later, she received an email requesting a video interview with the scholarship committee, scheduled for the following Monday at 10 a.m. Mrs. Westfield immediately offered her office for the interview. You need privacy and good internet, she said, and maybe a friendly face nearby. The interview panel consisted of 5 people: the foundation director, 2 university administrators, a corporate sponsor, and a previous scholarship recipient. For 90 intense minutes, they questioned her about everything from her academic goals to ethical perspectives to how she handled failure. When they asked about her family situation, Olivia took a deep breath and told the truth, without embellishment or self-pity. I always believed my academic achievements would be supported, as promised, throughout my childhood, she explained calmly. When that support was withdrawn in favor of my brother's more practical career path, I realized I needed to create my own opportunities. I'm not asking for this scholarship because I deserve it more than others, but because I will maximize its impact through dedication to medicine and future service. Afterward, Mrs. Westfield hugged her tightly. That was perfect, Olivia. Dignified and powerful. Now we wait. The waiting proved excruciating. At home, tensions remained high. Her father had taken to making pointed comments about ungrateful children and emotional overreactions. Her mother oscillated between tearful apologies and defensive justifications. One evening, she cornered Olivia in the hallway. "We still love you, Olivia. We're still your parents. Can't we move past this?" Olivia looked at her. This woman she had trusted implicitly for 18 years. "Love shouldn't have conditions or gender-based limitations, Mom," she said quietly. "When you decided Jason deserved investment and I didn't, you redefined our relationship. I'm still processing what that means." 7 days after the interview, the email arrived. Olivia was at the public library, her new refuge for avoiding home. With shaking hands, she opened it. "Dear Miss Mitchell, the Edmonds Foundation Scholarship Committee is pleased to inform you that you have been selected as a 2024 recipient. This award covers full tuition, room, board, books, and a stipend for 4 years at Northwestern University." Olivia pressed her hand against her mouth, tears blurring the rest of the message. She had done it. She had found her own way forward. That night, while her family slept, Olivia began methodically planning her departure. Northwestern's orientation began August 15th, but she decided to leave earlier, in mid-July. She needed distance, time to process, space to rebuild her sense of self away from the family that had betrayed her. She calculated expenses carefully. Her personal savings from years of birthday money and part-time jobs would cover transportation and initial expenses. The scholarship wouldn't activate until orientation, but she could stay with Rebecca, her online friend who lived near campus, for the interim weeks. Over several days, Olivia quietly packed essentials. Winter clothes could wait. She only needed summer items and irreplaceable personal belongings. Everything fit into 2 suitcases and a backpack. She left behind the lavish graduation gifts from relatives. The laptop, the pearl earrings, the monogrammed luggage. Those felt tainted now. The night before her planned departure, she wrote a brief note. "I have received a full scholarship to Northwestern. I am pursuing my medical education as planned. Do not contact me. I will reach out if I'm ready. Olivia." No emotional accusations, no heated explanations, just facts. She would leave it centered on her perfectly made bed for them to find after she was gone. She arranged for a ride share to the bus station at 5:30 a.m., before anyone in the house would stir. That final night, Olivia lay awake in her childhood bedroom, surrounded by the remnants of a life built on false assumptions. Swimming trophies from elementary school, academic awards throughout high school, family photos where they all smiled, either believing or pretending they were equal members of a loving unit. In the pre-dawn darkness, she moved silently through the sleeping house, placing her note centered on her bed. She didn't allow herself a final glance at her parents' closed door or at Jason's room with its sports posters and new car keys on the dresser. Those people were now characters in her past, not architects of her future. The front door closed softly behind her. The weight of betrayal remained, but alongside it grew something new, the fierce pride of self-reliance. Whatever came next would be her creation, alone. In the growing light of dawn, Olivia walked away from the Mitchell family home, 2 suitcases containing her remaining connections to childhood and a determination that would never again be dependent on anyone else's validation. The Greyhound bus pulled into Chicago Station at 2 in the afternoon on a brutally hot July day. Sweating in jeans and a t-shirt, Olivia dragged her suitcases through the crowded terminal, searching for the exit. After 18 hours of travel, a local bus to Cleveland, an overnight Greyhound to Chicago, exhaustion competed with anxiety and a strange, buoyant sense of freedom. Rebecca waited outside, instantly recognizable from their video chats over the past year. They had met in an online pre-med forum, bonding over shared interests and goals. When Olivia had explained her situation in a tearful late-night call, Rebecca immediately offered her apartment couch until the dormitories opened. Olivia, she called, waving enthusiastically. Over here. Her hug felt like the first genuine human connection Olivia had experienced in weeks. She helped with her bags, chattering about neighborhood restaurants and campus landmarks they would visit. Her easy warmth began thawing something frozen deep inside Olivia. Rebecca's apartment, shared with two other students, was tiny but welcoming. The couch that would be Olivia's bed for 3 weeks looked more inviting than her bedroom at home had felt in those final days. It's not much, Rebecca apologized. But mi casa es su casa. It's perfect, Olivia assured her, meaning it. This shabby couch represented independence, chosen connections rather than obligatory ones. The first night, lying awake under borrowed blankets, while Rebecca's roommates quietly moved around the apartment, homesickness hit with unexpected force. Not for her parents or even her childhood home, but for the certainty she had once felt about her place in the world. She had lost not just family support, but an entire framework for understanding relationships and trust. Mourning the loss brought renewed determination. Rebecca had classes, but left campus maps and her spare key. Explore, she encouraged. Start making it yours. Olivia spent that day wandering Northwestern's campus, an outsider looking in. Students attending summer sessions moved purposefully between buildings. She found the pre-med advising office, closed until orientation, and the dormitory where she'd been assigned a room. Standing outside these places, she felt simultaneously that she belonged and that she was a fraud who had had to scheme her way into belonging. By week 2, Olivia had established routines. Mornings were spent exploring campus, afternoons at a local coffee shop with free Wi-Fi, researching student jobs, and applying for campus positions. Evenings were spent cooking dinner with Rebecca and her roommates, who never questioned why a stranger occupied their living room or treated her with anything less than warmth. Her phone remained off. She checked it once after arriving, finding 37 missed calls and dozens of texts from her parents and Jason. The messages progressed from confused to angry to pleading. Olivia read none in detail, merely confirming they knew she was gone. Then she powered off the device, unable to handle their emotions while still processing her own. She found work as a research assistant in the university's biology department, starting immediately despite classes being weeks away. The professor, Dr. Eleanor Chen, needed help organizing data from summer experiments. The position paid modestly but offered invaluable experience and connection to her field. You're incredibly organized, Dr. Chen commented after Olivia's first week. Most freshmen require more supervision. I've learned to be self-sufficient, Olivia replied, leaving the complicated reasons unspoken. When dormitories opened for early arrivals, Olivia moved into her assigned room with profound relief. The space was minimal: twin bed, desk, dresser, half a closet. But it was entirely hers. Her roommate wouldn't arrive for another week, giving her time to settle into the space, physically and emotionally. That first night alone in her dorm room, she cried for hours. Not from sadness, exactly, but from release. The tension of the summer, the shock of discovery, the stress of securing her future independently, the exhaustion of maintaining composure through it all, everything poured out in those private tears. By morning, she felt hollowed out, but somehow lighter. Classes began, and Olivia threw herself into academics with renewed purpose. Each completed assignment, each professor's approving nod, each successful quiz became tangible proof that she belonged here. Despite her family's lack of faith, she scheduled courses strategically, maximizing pre-med requirements while balancing workload. Her research position with Dr. Chen expanded to 10 hours weekly. October brought the first real challenge to her new independence. Thanksgiving break loomed, with dormitories closing and most students returning home. The thought of seeing her family sent a wave of panic through her. She wasn't ready. The wounds remained too raw. Dr. Chen provided unexpected sanctuary. I need someone to monitor experiments during the break, she mentioned casually. Paid, of course, with access to graduate housing since the dorms close. Any interest? The relief must have shown plainly on Olivia's face. Yes, absolutely yes. Thanksgiving Day found Olivia in Dr. Chen's lab, running cell cultures while most of America gathered around family tables. Dr. Chen appeared mid-afternoon with containers of food. My family's dinner, she explained. Much too much, as always. They ate together in the lab's break room, discussing research rather than personal matters. Only when they were finished did she speak directly to Olivia's situation. Family complications can be the hardest scientific problem to solve, Dr. Chen said softly. Whatever yours are, remember that families form in many ways. Some we're born into, others we create deliberately. The latter often fit better. Her words resonated deeply. Olivia was building her chosen family already. Rebecca and her roommates, Dr. Chen, the study group members who had become friends, her dorm resident advisor who checked in regularly. Winter break presented similar challenges, solved when a classmate invited Olivia to join her family in Michigan. Mom always makes too much food, and our guest room sits empty, her friend insisted. Olivia accepted gratefully, experiencing a normal, loving family dynamic that made her own situation both more painful by comparison and somehow less consuming. Other families existed where children were valued equally, supported without gender-based conditions. One Tuesday in February, Olivia's phone, kept charged but rarely checked, displayed a campus area code she didn't recognize. Thinking it might be administrative, she answered. Olivia, it's Jason. She nearly hung up. How did you get this number? Called the university. Said it was a family emergency. His voice sounded different, subdued, missing its usual confidence. What do you want? Olivia asked coldly. To apologize, and to tell you some things have changed at home. Nothing waiting. Mom and Dad are separating, he continued into her silence. Dad's not doing great. The truck got repossessed because he lost his job. He paused. And I dropped out of trade school. Turns out construction wasn't my thing after all. A complex emotion rose in Olivia. Not quite satisfaction at their struggles, but a sense of vindication that their practical plans had collapsed so quickly. Why are you telling me this? Because you were right, he said simply. About everything. The favoritism, the sexism, all of it. I didn't see it because I benefited from it. But when things got tough, Dad started treating me the way he treated you. Like an investment gone bad. I realized that's all either of us ever were to him. The conversation lasted nearly an hour. Jason detailed the family's unraveling after Olivia's departure. Her mother's guilt manifesting as depression. Her father's rigid values crumbling under financial strain. Their marriage fracturing under the weight of confronting their choices. Mom asks about you constantly, Jason said. Wants to know if you're okay. I'm more than okay, Olivia told him truthfully. I'm thriving. When they disconnected, Olivia felt no desire to reconcile with her parents. But something had shifted. Their collapse didn't heal her wounds, but it removed the power those wounds held over her. Their approval or disapproval no longer mattered. She was succeeding without them. Spring semester brought new triumphs. Olivia maintained a perfect GPA while increasing her research hours. Dr. Chen invited her to co-author a paper, a virtually unheard of honor for a freshman. Her pre-med advisor remarked that she was positioning herself exceptionally well for medical school applications. As her first year neared its end, Olivia received an email that stopped her breath. Acceptance to Northwestern's prestigious accelerated medical program. Another competitive scholarship that would secure her direct path to the university's medical school after undergraduate completion. Only 5 students annually received this honor. In her tiny dorm room, staring at the acceptance letter, Olivia thought about the frightened girl who had boarded a bus with 2 suitcases less than a year ago. That version of her could never have imagined this moment of absolute triumph. She had lost a family, but found her strength. She had been betrayed, but learned to trust herself. The night before graduation, Olivia received a text from Jason. Mom's coming tomorrow. Wanted you to know. Your choice if you want to see her. Dad's not coming. Olivia stood at the window of her dorm room, watching the sunset paint the campus buildings golden. After everything, after rebuilding her life piece by careful piece, was she ready to face the person whose betrayal had catalyzed this entire journey? The answer came with surprising clarity. Yes, not for reconciliation or forgiveness, but to close the circle, to show her mother exactly who she had become without her support, to stand in her achievement without hiding or apologizing. Olivia texted back one word, okay. Graduation day dawned brilliantly clear. Lake Michigan shimmering like polished glass beyond the campus boundaries. Olivia dressed methodically in her room. A black dress beneath the academic gown, honor cords draped over her shoulders, her cap positioned precisely. Each item represented triumph over circumstances that should have defeated her. Her roommate, Catherine, snapped photos as she prepared. First in our class, she kept saying proudly. They should make you give the speech instead of that boring dean. They joined the procession of graduates assembling outside the auditorium, faculty in colorful academic regalia lining the walkway. Dr. Chen was among them. She stepped forward as Olivia passed, briefly squeezing her hand. Extraordinary work, Olivia. This is just the beginning. Olivia hadn't told anyone about her mother's possible appearance. It felt too complicated to explain, too personal to share. She wasn't even certain her mother would actually come, despite Jason's text. Part of her hoped she wouldn't. As their procession reached the administration building, where they would collect name cards before entering the ceremony, Olivia saw her. Her mother stood near the information desk, looking smaller than Olivia remembered, her hair showing more gray. She appeared to be arguing with the assistant dean of students, gesturing emphatically. I need to know where my daughter is, Olivia heard her saying as she approached. Olivia Mitchell, I'm her mother. I haven't seen her in 4 years. As I've explained, Mrs. Mitchell, we cannot provide student information without permission. Privacy policies are very clear. Olivia's fellow graduates continued past the scene, oblivious to the drama unfolding. She could have joined them, avoided this confrontation entirely. Instead, she stepped away from the line. Mom? Her mother turned, her face transforming through shock to disbelief, to something like wonder. Olivia? Is that really you? 4 years had separated them, 4 years of complete silence after 18 years of daily interaction. She looked at Olivia like she was a stranger, which, in many ways, she was. Why are you here? To see you graduate. Her voice trembled. Jason told me. I had to come, even if you didn't want to see me. The assistant dean, sensing personal drama, discreetly stepped away. Olivia and her mother stood facing each other in the administrative lobby, graduates flowing around them like water around stones. You look so grown up, her mother said. So confident. I am confident, Olivia replied. I did this without you. Or Dad. Without anyone's help. Her mother flinched slightly. I know. That's why I had to come. To tell you. I'm sorry. More sorry than you can imagine. Part of Olivia had imagined this moment, rehearsed cutting words designed to inflict the pain she had experienced. But standing before her mother's vulnerability, those prepared speeches evaporated. A lot has changed, Olivia said simply. Everything's changed. Her mother agreed. Your father and I separated 2 years ago. The divorce was finalized last month. Olivia nodded, having heard pieces from Jason's occasional texts. After you left, her mother continued, then stopped to steady her voice. After you left, nothing was the same. All our certainties collapsed. Jason dropped out of trade school. Your father lost his job when the plant downsized. The financial security we thought was so important vanished anyway. I'm sorry things have been difficult, Olivia said, surprised to partially mean it. Don't be. We deserved it. She looked down at her hands. The way we treated you was unforgivable. choosing to invest in Jason over you because of outdated sexist values. I participated in that decision. I can't undo it. No, Olivia agreed. No, Olivia agreed. You can't. Your father still can't admit he was wrong. His pride? She shook her head. It cost him everything. Our marriage, his relationship with both his children, his self-respect. And Jason? Olivia asked, curious despite herself. A small smile touched her mother's lips. He's finding his way. Community college now, studying graphic design. He's actually good at it. Says he should have ignored Dad's pressure from the beginning. He talks about you all the time, how you inspired him to pursue what he actually wants. The irony wasn't lost on Olivia. Her brother had ended up at community college after all the preferential treatment, while she had succeeded at the university they claimed she couldn't attend. I should rejoin the procession, Olivia said, gesturing toward the graduates, now nearly all inside. Of course. Her mother stepped back awkwardly. I won't intrude on your day. I just wanted to see you, to tell you how proud I am of what you've accomplished. Against all odds, against our terrible mistakes. Something softened slightly in Olivia's chest. Not forgiveness, exactly, but a recognition of her mother's humanity, her capacity for growth, even if it came too late for their original relationship. Are you staying for the ceremony? Olivia asked. Hope illuminated her mother's face. Yes, I have a ticket. Jason helped me get it. Find me afterward, Olivia said, neither a promise nor a rejection. If you want. Her mother nodded, tears spilling now. I'd like that very much. Olivia rejoined the procession just as it entered the auditorium. The grand space buzzed with excitement. Parents and friends filling every seat. Faculty assembled on stage. Olivia took her place with the other honors graduates in the front row, focused entirely on the culmination of her academic journey rather than the emotional complexities waiting outside. When they called her name as valedictorian, the applause seemed to expand the room itself. Walking across that stage, accepting her diploma with highest honors, Olivia remembered the terrified girl who had left home with 2 suitcases and a broken heart. That version of her could never have imagined this triumph, this absolute validation of her worth. After the ceremony, Catherine hugged her fiercely. We're having a celebration at Giovanni's. You have to come. I'll meet you there, Olivia promised. There's something I need to do first. Her mother waited near the entrance, uncertainty written across her face. When she saw Olivia approaching, relief replaced tension. You were incredible, she said. Top of your class. Thank you. An awkward silence stretched between them, years of unspoken words, creating an almost physical barrier. Jason wanted to come, her mother offered. He had a final exam he couldn't reschedule. Olivia nodded, then made a decision. I'm meeting friends for a graduation dinner. Would you like to join us? Her mother's surprise was evident. Are you sure? I wouldn't want to intrude. You wouldn't be intruding if I'm inviting you, Olivia said. It's not forgiveness or reconciliation. It's just dinner. Just dinner would be wonderful, her mother replied softly. Giovanni's bustled with celebration when they arrived. Olivia's friends had claimed a long table near the back, their faces lighting with curiosity when she approached with an older woman they'd never seen. Everyone, this is Linda Mitchell, my mother, Olivia said, the words feeling strange on her tongue after years of silence. Mom, these are my friends. Catherine recovered first, pulling out a chair. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Mitchell. Olivia never mentions family. Come sit by me and spill all her childhood secrets. The dinner progressed with surprising ease. Her mother shared sanitized versions of Olivia's childhood achievements. Her friends detailed their college adventures. Olivia observed this strange integration of her past and present with cautious wonder. When her mother excused herself to the restroom, Catherine leaned over. You never talk about your family. Is everything okay? Olivia considered the question carefully. It's complicated. We've been estranged since before freshman year. This is the first time I've seen her in 4 years. Catherine's eyes widened. Seriously? But she seems so proud of you. She is now, Olivia said. She wasn't always. People can change, I guess. When her mother returned, the conversation shifted to Olivia's medical school plans. She listened intently as Olivia described the accelerated program she'd been accepted to. You always wanted to be a doctor, her mother said softly. Since you were 6 and got that toy stethoscope for Christmas? The shared memory created an unexpected bridge across years of silence, not rebuilding what was lost, but acknowledging that their histories remained intertwined despite the rupture. As dinner concluded, they walked together toward the parking lot. Night had fallen, campus lights illuminating the paths between the buildings where Olivia had spent 4 transformative years. Thank you for including me today, her mother said. I know you didn't have to. I didn't, but I'm not angry anymore. That's different from forgiveness, but it's something. Her mother nodded, accepting these terms without pushing for more. You've built an amazing life here, she continued. Great friends, academic success, clear direction. You did that without us? Without me. I did, Olivia acknowledged. It wasn't easy, but it taught me something invaluable. No one else defines my worth or capability. Not parents, not society's expectations, not gender norms. Only I determine my limits. A lesson I learned too late, her mother replied, but one I'll never forget. They reached her car, the moment of separation at hand. Will you stay in touch? Her mother asked tentatively. Even occasionally? Olivia considered this carefully. I can't promise regular contact. My life is moving forward. Medical school, residency, eventually a practice. But yes, occasional updates seem reasonable. Relief softened her features. That's more than I deserve. Thank you. They didn't hug goodbye. That would have felt forced, premature. Instead, Olivia stepped back as her mother entered her car, both acknowledging the careful distance that respect now required. Walking back toward campus, where her friends waited, Olivia felt an unfamiliar lightness, not the absence of past pain, but its transformation into something constructive, wisdom, resilience, self-knowledge. Her family had tried to limit her based on antiquated notions of gender and worth. In breaking free, she hadn't just achieved academic success, she had discovered her capacity to define herself on her own terms, to build connections based on genuine value rather than obligation. The greatest lesson wasn't about forgiveness or reconciliation, though both remain possibilities for the future. It was about the power of self-definition, of refusing external limitations, of writing your own story, even when others try to reduce you to a supporting character in theirs. As she rejoined her chosen family, friends who celebrated her success without qualification, mentors who recognized her potential without gender-based asterisks, Olivia understood that betrayal had given her an unexpected gift, the freedom to discover her true worth, unconstrained by others' limited vision. 4 years ago, a devastated girl had boarded a bus with nothing but determination and 2 suitcases. Today, a confident woman in graduation regalia looked toward a future limited only by her own choices, not by anyone else's expectations. The journey between those 2 versions of herself had been painful, but necessary, breaking old bonds to forge stronger ones, including the most important bond of all, the one with herself. So, if you are watching this and facing your own version of family disappointment or inequality, remember that other people's limitations are not yours to carry. Your worth isn't determined by their investment. Sometimes, the greatest act of self-love is walking away from those who can't see your full potential, creating space for those who will. Have you ever had to redefine yourself after betrayal? Drop a comment below, sharing your story. Like and subscribe if this resonated with you, and share with someone who might need to hear that standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. Thank you for witnessing this journey from heartbreak to triumph. And remember, the only permission you need to pursue your dreams is your own.